Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles, and I'm so excited to be here with Dr. Curtis Null, a great man that I've been blessed and fortunate to be in the trenches with, to do some things. So excited to have him on and be here with you. And you know, we talked before we jumped in. The last time we did this was before you were in this role.
That's right.
And so just kind of talk about that a little bit. Just start like kind of from that role that you were in the last time we talked to where you are now.
Well, it's been a while since we did this.
Yes.
Like, as you said, I'm in year 7 as superintendent, and we last did this when I was the deputy superintendent. I think I was on my way maybe into this job at that point, but man, I could flip the interview right now on the same for you, man. Look at you and what you've done in those 7 years. What a great journey it's been for you. But yeah, it's been quite the honor. You know, it's this job is one that I don't take for granted at all. You know, it's a privilege to serve in this role. You know, the number of lives that are impacted is never lost on me. You know, 74,000 kids and 10,000 employees, and then all the people that love them, you know, that are part of their lives also associated with what we do. And so, you know, it's been quite an honor to have this opportunity. I'm blessed.
So good. And I know I tell you this often, off air, I try to tell you every time I see you, but just so happy for you and the things that you've been blessed to do. I think it's one thing to know that like people are doing great things, but it's another whole other thing when you know that like where I'm from, when it's good people,
Yeah, absolutely,
doing good things, right. And so just to know, you know, your lineage, you know, where you come from, you know, the things that you have been blessed to do and achieve, and then how you've passed that on to those that you've been blessed to be around. It's just such a blessing and such a good thing. And so let's just dive into it.
Okay.
Talk to us about the journey. Like, how is that journey been for you? I mean, like, let's go back. I'm thinking
we're gonna get in the way back.
yeah, let's go way back to parents being in education.
Yeah, so
let's go back to that.
You go all the way back. Both parents educators. You know, I know that you have a household like that a little bit too, with the education in the family. And,
yes, sir.
And so you grow up as a kid watching your parents make a difference in the world, and knowing, you know, what it takes. Now, growing up as a child, I didn't have any interest in being an educator. I knew what I was going to be. From 5th grade on, I knew what I was going to be. I was going to be a pharmacist. That's what I was going to be. I picked my university based on the pharmacy school. That, you know, from, like I said, 5th grade through high school, I picked my path.
You had to track down.
You know, and I knew what I was going to do. As a freshman in college, I started working in a pharmacy, and I figured out that was not for me. I think just education was in my blood. I was just fighting,
running from it.
I didn't slow down enough to listen to what I was being called to do. And so when I finally started to listen, I made that switch in my major and took the education route. You know, working as an athletic trainer, and had an opportunity at the University of Houston, and then you know, talk about the Wayback Machine, you know, worked with the Houston Oilers before they left, you know, and then went to the University of Florida and worked there, and came back here and started teaching as an athletic trainer at the Woodlands High School, and that I was set, man. That's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I was going to be the trainer, and that was it. And no desire to be an administrator. I won't even say no desire, no thought. Just didn't even cross my mind until somebody spoke that into me. One of my mentors spoke that into me and said, "Have you ever thought about this?" And it was a big moment in my life, but it was also impactful for me as a future leader, because that's something that I've tried to do in my roles along the way is speak some things into some people where I saw, because I know that had he not taken the time to do that for me, then I would have never launched on the path. And so learning from that, how do I help launch people into that path? So, had that opportunity, moved in, become an assistant principal, then became a junior high principal, then a high school principal, and then moving over and serving as an assistant superintendent, deputy superintendent, and then the superintendent. So it's been quite the journey, man, and all feels like it was so fast.
No doubt.
Yeah. What they say, the days are long and the years are short, or something like that. That's kind of what it feels like, right?
And as you get older, they go faster.
Yes,
and faster.
Exactly.
So good. There was a couple words that you said in that when you talked about the journey that stuck out for me. In the first phrases, called to. And so, being faith background, and I would hear, our family members say, fourth generation educator, they would say, it's a calling, right? And I didn't understand that, just like you said, I didn't understand that until I got into it.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a calling to be great at it and to be able to serve at the maximum level, because it's not an easy thing to do.
No, this career choice is too hard to be a job.
Yes, come on.
Right,
we got to look at the camera.
It's too hard to just be a job.
Yes.
It's got to be a calling. It's got to, because the work is already difficult, but the emotional toll that these, being a teacher, and I still proudly consider myself a teacher. Being a teacher is hard work, because the work is hard, but then the emotional stress. You care so deeply, you love so much, you give so much of yourself, your personal self. You see teachers, man, that they give so much of themselves individually that I worry about them, like, do they have enough left in the tank when they get home to take care of their own family or themselves, right? And so I think you have to be serving really a higher calling than just looking for a job or looking for a career. If that's all it is to you, I'm not sure you can survive it. I just think it's too much.
It's a lot for sure, but it's so worth it.
Oh yes, I mean there's nothing better. The rewards that this profession gives back, are they're incredible. I work with a lot of people, going to Chamber of Commerce meetings and doing all these things. People have very wonderful careers, right? But sometimes they're seeking a way to find personal fulfillment and to feel like they've made a difference in this world. They have to seek that outside of their career because they don't necessarily feel that in their career. We don't have that problem as teachers.
No.
It's built into our jobs.
Yeah,
and that's fortunate. The hard part is built in every day, but it's there, right? It's there, but we shouldn't take that for granted, right? Like, how fortunate are we that in our jobs that we come to do every day, we get to change the world, right? We get to change the world.
I love that. Well, what are some lessons that you've learned along this journey that you talked about that has been beneficial to help you do what you do?
The most important thing is it's all about people, man. And we are in a people business, right? From the teachers to the kids, we're in a people business, but it truly is all about the people. It's about the relationships that you build, the trust that you build with people, genuine love and care for other people, and wanting the best for other people. That's what it's rooted in, and knowing that it takes time to build that. also respecting the fact that you could ruin it very quickly. You could build something for 20 years and ruin it in a sentence. And so you have to really be aware of that at all time and nurture that. The other lesson that I've learned, people ask me, what's been a regret or whatever. I mean, you can say a regret, a lesson, okay, however you want to think about it, is if I had to do it over again, what would I do different? I don't know if there's much I would do differently as far as the way I did the work, but what I would do differently is I would enjoy it more. I think there were times that I was so focused on it had to be perfect. I didn't want to disappoint anybody. I felt like I just had to work harder, had to do all these things that I didn't always enjoy the moment. And or when the moment happened, I would just immediately click over to worry about what's the next thing. And then I look back and I think, wow, I should have enjoyed the moment more. Whatever those moments were, I should have really embraced it. I'm still working on that. Like it's still a challenge, right? I mean, because there is always the next thing. But I have tried to be more intentional about that. And I think for people that are driven or competitive, or maybe, ultimately focused on success, all the things, right? You can always be looking out at the next thing and forget that, man, this thing we got right here is really great. And we need to enjoy it.
I love that. It makes me just think about, like you said, being intentional about being in a moment, because really those moments are magic moments. Magic moments make magic memories, right?
That's right.
And so it's important to, just like when you were saying that, it kind of gave me like a piece, because I was just thinking about the journey and just being in those moments and truly enjoying the privilege that we get to have on a day-to-day basis to do what we do.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, and it's like I said, it for me is about being intentional, but because I have to be. If I'm not, then I will just move on to the next thing. And then I look back and I think, man, I was there, but I missed it.
Yeah.
Right.
So good. Well, just looking at, what you do, what you've done for a long time, like you talked about the moments, being intentional, wearing lots of hats, doing lots of different things, working to have growth.
Right.
It takes some prioritizing.
Yeah.
It takes the word that's coming up is balance, but really, I don't know if that exists. Right. Yeah. Maybe integration.
Right.
If you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just what are some tips for leaders that you could provide that will help them with, prioritizing and integration, not balance, integration?
Yeah. It's back to being intentional, right? And you can let work or whatever overtake everything. Yeah. If you're not intentional about being in the moment, there's also about being in the moment with your own family.
Come on.
Right? And so you have to. There's work to be done. I have to get the work done. But there's also those moments where you need to say, like, I'm gonna leave the phone over here. I'm gonna put this over here. I'm gonna be locked in this moment with my family, with my kids, and because of my work and what I've done, I've always kind of had to focus on quality, maybe over quantity sometimes. Because I wish I could be there more, but when I'm there, I want to be there. I want to be present when I'm there. And so I really try to focus on that. It may not work for everybody. I would just tell you, for me, while I have work I have to do when I get home, or there may be a phone call that comes in and I have to deal with things or those things, I do not let my job dominate my conversations at my house. We don't talk about school in my house. Now, my wife's a teacher. I try to be a good husband, Chip. I do. So I always the first question I ask when I get home is, "How was your day? Tell me about your day," and so she can tell me and get all the things out that she needs to get out. And then we have the family rule that that's it. We don't talk about school or work anymore, because I'm talked out of it by the time I leave here.
No more.
So I don't want to talk about that anymore. I want to talk about our kids. I want to talk about family stuff. And that separation is good for me. Now, it may not work for everybody. That's good for me. Just to kind of have that separate. I think it helps me.
I love that you said that, because that's important. It can bleed over, and not in a good way.
Right.
Granted, there are some pressing moments where, we need to talk, man, this was rough for me,
Right.
But for the most part, because I can remember, my wife hearing something like that happen, and like, why you didn't tell me about it? Like,
Right.
that's work.
It's just a separate deal.
Yeah,
right.
We handle it at work, Well, I'm home. When I'm home, I'm home.
Well, and that's part of it. It's like, I handled that at work, and it's handled. So I don't want to have to handle it again at home, or I just don't. And I'm fortunate that my wife gets that. She understands that, and so we can move on. There are those occasions when I have to be aware that she might need a little more explanation, so I might have to go into something, and that's okay. But I know if that's the case, she really is something that's really bothering her, that she needs to hear me say it's okay.
Because she cares.
She
wants
cares.
to make sure you're all right.
She wants to make sure I'm good. And so she'll, we'll cover those things that we have to. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we just try to keep it as separate as we can, knowing full well that this job that I have is a 24/7 job. Yeah. So it's never really out, but it's just, when it can be, we do the best we can.
I think the other thing that comes up for me is sacrifices. Mm-hmm. Sometimes people don't realize the sacrifices that yes, it's hours and all of those sacrifices you make, but the people that love you have to sacrifice too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The people that care for you, they have to make sacrifices to allow you to be able to be your best at what you do.
Right.
And so,
and that can come in a variety of ways, depending on what your job is or how you're leading in this world. In my job, it means I may miss events because when my kids were in school, I may have a board meeting and I got to miss this game, or I got to miss this event, and that's not ideal, but it happens sometimes. But there's also the sacrifice of I was always aware for my kids that as they were growing up, they had to wear the fact of what their dad's job was on them. They didn't have the luxury of making kid mistakes and doing, kid things that other kids may do that would be no big deal. If had they done those things, that it would have been a problem. Yeah. And they felt that pressure. Thank goodness they always lived up to it, and it was never a problem. But I never took for granted the fact that my kids had to deal with that a little bit along the way. So good. Let's look at some leadership tips. If there's someone that's watching this interview that would love to be in the shoes of Dr. Curtis Null. Ooh, be careful.
Watch out.
Be careful. Be careful.
I don't know if you want
it. Be careful what you ask for.
But just a couple, maybe a couple leadership tips to help someone that is working to be on the path that you've taken to get to where you are. What's a couple leadership tips that you may have?
First thing I always stress to people that maybe are looking to take the next step in a career, and for me it's education, but I think this is applicable across the board. Don't forget to be great at your current position.
Come on.
You see that sometimes.
Let's look again at the camera and tell them that again.
Yeah. Be great where you are currently planted.
Yeah.
And then let's see where the next step takes us. Sometimes you see people become focused on the next thing. They forget to be great at their current thing, and you'll never get the next opportunity if you're not great where you are. And so you can see that, right? If you want to become an assistant principal, and you're a really great teacher, but then you become so focused on being an assistant principal, you let yourself slip in the classroom. That's not going to help you move forward. So I always tell folks it's if you want the next opportunity, be great in the current opportunity.
I love
and
that.
then you get the but at the same time, prepare yourself. for the next opportunity. You don't know when it's going to happen. You don't know, but you know, whatever it is you need to do to prepare yourself. Maybe it's another degree. Maybe it's just reading and learning and all the things. Do the work, right? Do the work. You know, as a leader, you know, I said it earlier, but it's about people. So if you want to grow in any profession, it's about the relationships that you build, but they need to be pure and for the right reason. You know, the term networking to me doesn't feel like it has the right connotation, because it feels like I'm working. I'm just working to try to help get over. I think as you build relationships with people and you learn from people, and you give yourself a group of people that you can learn from and work with in the future, just to help grow yourself and potentially your ability to help grow them, then now you are becoming, you know, a leader, right? And those relationships are key. And then finally, I would just remind you, like, the ultimate measure of a leader is how well do the people around you perform. It's not like, what do you do? Okay, well, that's not leading. Leading is, how great is everybody that you touch? You know, you want to prove to me you're a great leader, then let me see your team. Let me see how great the team is. Because that's the measure of the leader, right? So, which is hard sometimes. Sometimes people think it's about them shining brighter. It's not about, in my opinion, it's not just about you shining brighter. It's about the team being that great, right? So, you know, for me, ultimately, my measure of success is, did all the people that I interacted with, that I had a chance to impact, did they all become the best versions of themselves that they could be? Did they become everything they wanted to be, and maybe even more than they ever thought they could be? That's how I would measure my success. Like, if that happens for all the people that I impacted, then I could consider myself successful. If I'm leaving them and not growing them and helping them to become who they want to be, and I'm limiting them in some way, or just not nurturing their growth in some way, then I failed as a leader.
Yeah. I love it. Opportunities. And I always say this: opportunities bring opportunities.
Sure.
I love how you explain that. Relationships. There's a quote, and I love this. I'll share this with you. One of my former pastors said this, and it gave me chills when he said it. And I always share it when relationships, the word relationships come up. Life moves at the speed of our relationships.
Yeah, I love it.
And so, like, I was like, wow, that's so true.
Yeah,
I mean,
powerful.
those people that are doing great things have great relationships. And those people that are not doing so well, they need better relationships.
Yes.
And then I love how you talked about the, you know, we over me. And the beauty of that is, I don't know how many times you saw that I smiled when you said that, because like, I've seen that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like what you explained, like I know, like I've seen that, like firsthand, lived that.
Right.
You know, and so
you're an example of it.
I'm an example. I'm the evidence and the research.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of those guys that I would look at and say, like, man, I hope I had a little part, like, you know, from where we were together 10 years ago, and watching you now to doing what you're doing, and living into your passion, and having watched that journey. Like, that's the stuff that I hope, like, man, I hope that maybe something I said or did inspired you to do those things, and hopefully maybe some of the things I did that helped you to get there. Yes. That's the measure, right? And that's what I want to feel like I had a part, hopefully, in people's lives, right? Yes. That we had a positive impact.
For sure, and I'll give you the answer to that: capital Y, capital E, capital S. Yes, with some exclamation marks. Yes, for sure, and truly grateful for you too, with that. You know, for the impact in my life. But, you know, the blessing of having consistency and being in a certain area at the same time is that you get to see that growth, and you get to see those relationships build, and you get to see people pouring into others and helping others, and you know, like, just personally, you know, having opportunities where, like, people are giving you opportunities, you like, Me? Like,
Yeah.
you sure?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
man, you don't want me to mess this up? You sure about that?
Right.
But people believing in you, even when you may not believe in yourself, and they see something in you, and that's truly been a blessing for me in this district. And I'm wholeheartedly 2 feet deep in with this district because there's been some amazing people in this place that have truly helped me and my family.
Same for me. Right. Absolutely.
I mean, like, just like, wow, you know, like my journey, like I've moved here, and then eventually all of my family have moved here and become educators, and like all
very
of those
successful educators.
very successful, and moved our parents, and parents have passed, and like the whole process of that. And I think it's truly a blessing to have that when you can have great people around you, be in a great atmosphere where you know you're always going to learn and grow.
That's right.
And you got people that's looking out for you.
And that's what makes it special, right? Is you can learn and grow, but you also get to work with people that you love and that you know love you.
Come on.
And while a lot of things can change, but the people don't change, right? Like our relationship today is no different than it was 13 years ago,
doubt.
right? Except maybe better, but I mean, as far as and you have lifelong friends that you were coaching with, 15 years ago, but today you're not coaching with them, but you're still as close as you could be, and that's a blessing. You have that support system, and we need that. As men, as leaders, as humans, right? You need that. You need that connection.
The last statement you said, when you were describing those tips, you said, if I can do those things, I will consider that to be successful. This is a Success Chronicle, so let's hit on success.
Okay.
What is your definition of success?
For me, that is my definition of success is all the people around me are living up to their fullest potential that they want. That is how I measure myself. And I know there's a lot of different ways people some may measure it through a bank account, or they may measure it through power or authority. For me, that my measure are those that I get the chance to impact living up to their fullest potential, and not only professionally but in life. Are they happy? Right. Did they feel loved? Do they feel supported? Did they feel all the whole package? Right? Are they the best version of themselves, or the version that they want to be of themselves? That's my measure of success and my definition.
So good. Well, I mean, I love a good story. So do you have a good story and experience that has inspired you to keep pushing? You talked about how this is a tough profession because you give so much, you have to make sacrifices. Is there a story that comes to mind or to heart for you?
To me, it's about little moments.
Yeah.
Right. It's not grand. You pass a $2 billion bond, or you get this award, you get that award. Like that, to me, those are secondary things. To me, it's little things. And the world can be hard on kids. Every generation, the generation before ours, every generation looks at the younger generation and says, "Oh, it's all falling apart." I get a unique viewpoint of the world because I get to see the children, and I get to feel good about our world, about the world in which we live in, right? And so there's a lot of examples of that I get to see. But one of the stories that rings true to me, that paints that picture, was we had an intermediate school, so that's 5th and 6th graders, right? Young kids, like 10, 11 years old, that was selected to go perform at this Texas Music Educators Association convention. It's a giant honor to be invited. You have to be one of the very top performing groups in the state to go to this. And so we had one of our schools get selected to go, and And so I went to support them at this event, and they had asked me to introduce them, and it was an honor, and it was a big honor to be there. And you could fill you with pride to just to be in that moment. But that's not at all the story of what it is that drives me. I stand up there and I'm introducing the group and at the podium, and then I exit, and I can hear the kids, they're filling in behind me, right? They're filling the riser, you hear all the little kids right there, they're filling in. And I go around, and they had saved a seat for me right in the front, and we're in a room that holds 4,000 people, like this is a big deal. And I go and I sit down, and I'm watching the kids, and immediately this one kid catches my eye, because you could see I'll go beyond nervousness, I'll say fear in her eyes. And she was having a hard time mentally dealing with the moment. Maybe it was getting a little too big for her. So they start to perform, and I'm sitting here, and the whole choir is beautiful, they're doing a great job, but I'm just watching this one baby, right? And she's crying. She's trying to sing, and I look down the row, and I'm looking at these teachers that we have, that I'm sitting next to a group of some other teachers, and I'm like, somebody's got to go get her, right? Like, I'm worried for her, right? But I'm watching, we got a teacher that has a relationship with her, she's locked in with her, and she's coaching her from 100 feet away, trying to support her, and I'm watching the magic of a teacher try to pour into a child, right? I'm watching this child who is 11 years old, who is having a really difficult time, and yet she is standing there trying to sing. She didn't run off the stage. She is trying to push through and make it happen, and I'm sitting here going, I'm just melting down, because it's too much, and then they get to the next song, and you can see her in true mental distress, and I am, I'm so worried about her. And right at this moment when I'm like, man, we're gonna lose, like, somebody's got, like, I was turning to a teacher to say, like, somebody needs to go get this child. I look up, and this little girl standing next to her, as they're singing, this little girl standing next to her just takes one big step towards her, and she just puts her hand out, and she grabs that little girl's hand, and you could see the world change for that little girl. And it still wasn't easy, but she made the whole concert with that one little girl holding her hand. That, Chip, that's, for me, that's success, right? Because they finish, and they come off the stage. And I'm gonna just tell you, I'm crying. I'm a mess, right? I'm just like, God, it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. The teachers, it's amazing. And I go over and I hug that little girl who was having so hard a time, and I said, baby, do you understand what you have just proven to yourself? Yeah. At 11 years old, or what, where I said, you have proven to yourself that things can be really, really hard, and you can still do it. And then I went and found the little girl that put her hand out and really carried her through, and I gave her a hug, and I said, baby, do you even know what you did? She goes, no, I just taking care of my friend. I said, you did, baby, and it was beautiful, and you didn't even think about it, but you also inspired a room full of thousands of people that could watch you and see the kindness and love in the heart of a child to remind us as adults how we should be when we see somebody struggling, instead of being quick to move on or separate ourselves or judge. Man, what if we just put a hand out and carry people with us like that, you know. And then I went and found out little girl's mom because she was there too. I gave her a hug. I said, I hope you have about 12 kids because we need all of what you are teaching into your children across our district. But that's it for me, right? It's like that right there was, you know, that happened maybe 3 or 4 years ago, Chip. It's like it was yesterday for me. You know, and there are many like that, but like those are the stories for me that remind me like why we do what we do, why this is a calling, why leadership matters, why you have to give people opportunities, sometimes to struggle, but also give them the tools they need to be successful in the struggle. So that's probably a longer story than you wanted, man, but I'm just telling you, that one touches my heart. Touches my heart, man.
I was working hard to keep it composed right there, Doc. That was good.
That's one I love. You know, kids are special people, man. And as adults, I think sometimes we count them a little short. But there's a lot of lessons in life that we can learn from a child, because unfortunately, in our journey through adulthood, sometimes we get jaded and sometimes we get pulled in the wrong direction, and we get clouded in our pure thoughts. And sometimes it's the pure thought of a child that is the reminder of what we are meant to be.
I think that's the beauty too of being an educator.
Absolutely.
Is you get to see that every day. Like multiple times you get to see the goodness. Every day, and it reminds you of how we need to be as adults.
Right, like and why we do this, and why, and you need faith in humanity, you need faith in this world. Come on. And no one will give you that more than children, because you see it in them, you know.
Well, what I want to do now is just maybe give you a couple words or phrases, and you just talk about what comes to mind or to heart.
Man, okay.
When you hear that, you okay with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm throwing you the good pitch.
Okay,
though, so
all right.
We're going to be good. We're going to knock it out. I'm throwing you the good pitch.
Okay.
So the first phrase I want to give you is the impact of influence.
Yeah. I use the term influence all the time when I'm speaking to leaders in our school district. If at any point, and once again, this is my opinion, man. There's people much smarter than I that have maybe different opinions. But if at any point you feel the need to use your power or your positional power to get something done, you have crippled yourself as a leader. What you have as a leader is influence. You have the power of influence, the ability to help shape people and situations and things by working with someone. You know, to me, influence means I'm doing it with you. Power means I'm doing it to you.
That's good.
Doing it to somebody is never going to be successful in the long term. Now, you might be able to squeeze some success in the short term, but influence is what you use to help grow people, to help build a situation that can be sustainable. So I'm a big fan of that word, just because I do think it's not the opposite of power, but it's more of a privileged piece of that, right? Like, we get to have this influence. Like, that's amazing.
So good. Well, let's go living and learning.
Yeah. Every day is a journey, right? Even if you're a perfectionist, it's not always going to be perfect. How do you learn through those moments, right? How is tomorrow going to be better for having lived through today? You know, I guess really that's kind of the definition of journey, right? Living and learning is the definition of journey.
Yeah.
You know, each day each day is an opportunity to be your best self, right? And so do the best you can today. Forgive yourself tomorrow for the fact that you may be a different person tomorrow because you learned from yesterday.
Yeah.
But you can't beat yourself up you can learn from it, but you can't beat yourself up. And you just keep moving forward.
I love it. Well, the last one I want to give you, and I'm going to pause and take a deep breath before I give you this.
Okay, all right, I got to get deep. I got to find it. Okay.
And I'm going to lean into, I'm going to say, hey, this is the good one.
Okay,
Right, this
all right,
good one.
all right.
Good one. But the last one I want to give you is legacy.
Yeah. We all want to make an impact in this world, right? I think that's why we're here, right? We were placed here to make this a better place to be. I believe all educators have a very strong legacy, right? Because we may not even always see it because we don't know the impact.
Right.
You don't know the impact that you made on somebody, and then what will that then produce in their future children or in the people that they work with. I think that's critical. For me personally, my legacy, I've been here 24 years in this area. When I'm ready to retire and move on, what I hope I will be remembered for is what we talked about earlier, that definition of success. That I hope that I will be remembered as a guy that helped everybody be better, right? Loved people wholly and cared and treated everybody the right way. That's the legacy that I hope that I've led. Others will be the judge of that. Some folks, that's enough for me, right? Like I don't have to have an award to feel like I've left a strong legacy or a school named after me or none of that is to me what a legacy is. The legacy is how have you impacted the lives of others? How have you made other people's lives better? That's legacy.
Boom. That's it. You came prepared. I think you knocked it out, Doc.
I appreciate you, man. Absolutely.
Good stuff. Well, as we close, I just want to say, again, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and hang out on the Success Chronicles. Even deeper than that, thank you for the person that you are and all that you've done to be a major impact and influence in my life. Yeah. Truly grateful for that. And then all of the lives that have been touched because of the things that you've been blessed and fortunate to do. So thank you so much for that.
Well, it means the world to me to just even have this opportunity with you. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you, there's pressure today because, we did this 7 years ago. I was probably one of the first couple of guys you did. We're learning through the process,
Yeah.
And then you tell me we're going to come today. And then I went and looked at your stuff. And first thing I see when I open it up, Kid and Play. I was like, come on now. I'm a dude who grew up in the 80s and the 90s. You can't have Kid and Play and then you're going to come here and talk to me. Nobody. I was like, look at Chip Baker. This guy has taken it to a whole other level, but I'm so proud. Man.
Thank you so much.
I'm so proud.
Thank you.
And this is what I do, what I try to do, and just get to be a part of that, man, and watching you shine and your beautiful family shine. It's a great thing, man. And
it is.
And as educators, I think we need to appreciate the fact that we get these type of opportunities is special.
It's a big blessing for sure. And like you said earlier, can't take it lightly either.
No.
The opportunities that we're blessed to have and the things that we're blessed to do and achieve and see and be.
Yeah.
Just taking a deep breath and just being in the moment and enjoying, truly enjoying those moments.
Yep.
You know, not about all of that stuff and things.
No,
but about experiences and opportunities.
The moments with people, man.
Yeah,
the memories that you make with people. That's the stuff that, you know, 20 years from now when we're sitting around somewhere eating barbecue together or something, that we're going to talk about those stories, right? And the people and the kids that we knew back in the day, and what are they doing today, and how are we living through them? And that's that legacy piece, right? Like how successful are they? And yeah, man.
So good. Well, again, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And thank you guys for checking out this episode. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Go get it.